Hey, what's happening everybody? Jack Jones here. It is Tuesday and I'm starting a new series called Tutorial Tuesdays. So that's where I'm going to show you different movements, different exercises that you can do for different specific goals. So today's Tutorial Tuesday is focused on 5 different kettlebell exercises that you can do for fat burning. They're specifically targeted for cardio, endurance, and fat burning. So let me show you the facility I'm at real quick. So this is MKT CrossFit. And MKT CrossFit is where I will be doing some personal training and some CrossFit. And you can, there's a dude playing basketball back there, so you'll probably hear that throughout this video. But it's a really, really nice facility. It's got a lot of really awesome equipment, so I'm excited to be able to shoot a lot of videos from here. So today we're just gonna do 5 kettlebell exercises. Let's just hop right in. First one is kettlebell swings. All right, so the first exercise we're doing is the kettlebell swing. So let me just show you the swing real quick. So that's what it looks like. You're moving the kettlebell from between your legs. You're using your hips to hinge that kettlebell up and then moving that kettlebell all the way up to your eye level. So what that works is it really works your glutes. It works your explosive muscles for opening up your hips. So your hips and in athletic movements, that is where you generate all your power. So kettlebell swing is really great for athletes because it teaches you to open your hips to really generate power. Kettlebell swing is probably my favorite kettlebell exercise because it is really good for your fat burning, for your endurance, but also it really teaches you how to generate power from the hips. So let's go through that slowly. So you're gonna start with your kettlebell on the ground. You can't see it right here. You're gonna start it with in front of you. You're gonna lift it and then swing it through your hips. So through your hips, and then you're pushing up through your hips. So the most common mistake people make is they use their lower back and their shoulders to swing the kettlebell. So when it's wrong, it looks like this. So look at this, I'm really using my back, I'm really using my shoulders, and it doesn't look very smooth, it's not very explosive. What you want to do instead is that kettlebell makes contact with your hips. Your arms should be making contact right with your hip and your groin area right here, and then you're swinging that through and you're pushing with your hips, and then your arms follow, right? So you're pushing with your hips, and then your arms follow. You're not swinging, you're not using your lower back, you're not using your shoulders, you're pushing with your hips and your arms follow. So let me show you that a couple of times. Push, arms follow. Push. Should be a really strong contraction of your glutes. Pushing through. All right, let me show you a couple of reps where you can see my feet. Okay, so your feet set up, you want them to be wider than shoulder width apart. So a little bit wider than you would have on a regular squat. You want your kettlebell about 12 inches in front of you, so that way when you start, you can use the momentum and let it leverage itself back. So let me show you what that looks like. So it starts in front of you, momentum, and then swing your hips. Really notice how I'm pushing with my hips. Let me show you what wrong looks like at the bottom. So wrong, right? So now this kettlebell's not even making contact with my hips or my legs really, and my arms are just kind of swinging freely, and now I'm just using my lower back to do the work. So that's wrong, here's right. So there's kind of a delay at the bottom when you're doing it right. The kettlebell goes all the way through, and you push with your hips. Push with your hips. All right, so our next exercise is a lot like the kettlebell swing. It is the kettlebell snatch. So let me show you the difference here. I'm gonna use a little lighter kettlebell. So I used a 53 pounder for the kettlebell swing. I'm gonna drop down and use a 35 pounder for the kettlebell snatch. So the kettlebell snatch, I'll be able to show you the full movement here real quick. So, but it starts on the ground and then you're pulling it through. So let me just show you the full movement. Right, so whereas the kettlebell swing, you were ending up in front of your face, eye level, kettlebell snatch, you go all the way overhead. So that's the main difference. You still get a bunch of hip extension. All my power is still coming from my hips, right? But instead of propelling the kettlebell forward, now I'm propelling the kettlebell in a straight line up the midline of my body all the way to finish at the top. So touch the ground, all the way up. So let me show you that from the bottom. So the setup is the same for a kettlebell snatch as it is for the swing, except your kettlebell is going to start in between your feet. So you still want a wide stance. starts in between your feet. You want to get into a deadlift stance. So I'm not squatting here, right? So that's wrong. I want to get into a deadlift, and you're basically doing a deadlift, and then you're pulling, you're extending your hips, you're pulling with your shoulders, pulling that kettlebell all the way up. So here's what that looks like. All right, so the next exercise is a kettlebell clean and press. So let me show you that real quick. Let me show you a different angle. Right, so it's using the same principles as the kettlebell swing and the kettlebell snatch, where you're opening up your hips, you're fully extending your hips, and then you're pulling that kettlebell up into a clean front rack position, and then you're pushing it all the way into the sky. And then, so if you have a heavier kettlebell, you can do a kettlebell clean and then a jerk, right, all the way up. So those are two variations. For our purposes, we're going to be doing a kettlebell clean and press with a little bit of a lighter weight. So that would be a weight, whatever weight you use for the snatch is generally good for a kettlebell clean and press. You want to alternate arms each round, so it looks like this. Up. So again, what you're focusing on is fully opening up your hips. You're focusing on pressing through all the way, so locking out your arms at the top. And then at the top, you want to push your head forward. You want to make sure, try not to hyperextend your back, right? You want to have a nice strong core, pressing straight up overhead, straight into your midline. All right, so the next exercise I'm going to show you, they are called kettlebell thrusters. I'm assuming you only have one kettlebell at home. Most people don't have two of the same weight. If you want to do these with two kettlebells, you can. Just reduce the weight of each kettlebell a little bit. So I'm using what am I using? A 26-pound kettlebell right here. So a thruster is a lot like a squat, except you finish up top with a press. So I'm dropping down into a nice deep squat all the way up, and then pressing that kettlebell all the way into the sky. So let's show you a couple of reps. Show you from this angle. So all the way down, and as I'm going up, again, I'm using the explosive power of my hips to generate power to push that kettlebell into the sky, right? So it's a real explosive movement. I don't want to do a slow squat and then a slow strict press. That's inefficient. That doesn't build power, and it's not going to get you the same kind of cardio, fat burning results as you will if you do it explosively. So let me show you that again. It's all the way down, hips up, down, hips up. That weight should be flying up on its own. Hips up. And really all you're doing is you're stabilizing it at the top. So you're not using your shoulders to press it up. You're driving it up through your hips. So that's a kettlebell thruster. If you have two kettlebells, you can do it with both hands. And gotta tell you, it is one of the most difficult exercises, but it's so good for burning fat. So good. All right, last exercise. This one is nice and easy. It's just a kettlebell squat. So for some of you at home, you may find it difficult to get started with like a kettlebell swing or a kettlebell snatch, some of these more complex movements, but a kettlebell squat, everyone can do, and especially if you have poor ankle mobility, it actually helps keep more weight in front of you so that you can sit back on your heels more. So let me show you that. So got our kettlebell. You want to go a little bit heavier with your kettlebell squats. So I have that holding by the handles right on my chest. And now I just sit back into my heels, all the way down, all the way up. And I'm squeezing through my glutes. So all the same rules for a regular squat apply. You're driving through your heels, you're pushing your knees out, you want to feel it, really feel it in your glutes. So down and up. Show you that from another angle. Down and up. So pretty self-explanatory, pretty simple, but if you chain together like a set of kettlebell squats and then a set of kettlebell swings and you do that 4 or 5 times, that can be a really, really great cardio, fat burning circuit right there. All right, so that's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments if you like these Tutorial Tuesdays, and I'll keep doing them if they are helpful to you. And then give me some ideas for what to do next Tuesday. So whatever questions you have, it could be fitness related, it could be nutrition related, whatever questions you have, I would like to start answering them on these Tutorial Tuesdays. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.